she has won the right to rest peacefully in Texas waters.
Howdy and hello, I'm Travis Davis, Vice President of Ship Operations, Battleship Texas Foundation. And we're here today with our most recent update. It's been a hot minute since our last update, way back in February, and we want to catch you up with everything that's been going on with Battleship Texas and what we've been doing. So what have we been doing since February? Well, we've done numerous outreaches, so numerous, in fact, I have to write them down because I can't keep track of them all. The West Houston Air Show, Viva Art Taco in Beaumont, Armed Forces Day 5K, the Lone Star Flight Museum Hangar Talk, and we have a bunch more scheduled this month as well. So our outreaches usually involve taking our gun trailer to the outreach, and we talk about, our folks go out and they talk about the ship, and whether it's facets of the history or the technology, like the guns, things like that, generally just help drum up support for the ship. If you're in the Houston area or not the Houston area and you would like to have one of our outreach events there, please reach out to us. Hit us up at info@battleshiptexas.org and we'll try to get one scheduled out to you. Perhaps one of the biggest things that we've done since March was reopen the ship. We reopened the ship in March for 2 weekends. And during those 4 days, we had 10,000 visitors altogether. And the folks who chose to come out that last weekend were among the last general public to board the ship at San Jacinto. And personally, I feel that they were very fortunate to do so and are a part of history because we will not be reopening the ship again at San Jacinto. It's sad that she's leaving there. Personally, I feel that way as a sentimental historian and the symmetry of her being there, but her going to a new location is much better for the ship and for her long-term survival. And that's what's been going on since last February. But in the middle of all that, kind of in the background, our maintenance guys, Greg, Marco, and Kyle, these wonderful guys, and our great volunteer crew group have been working on this 40 millimeter mount. This is 40 millimeter mount number 4. It was on the port side signal bridge. So if you've been on the ship, now you know where it was at. All of those guys took this mount down to its base components. They started back in December. Like I said, put a couple of thousand man hours into it, broke it down to its base components, sandblasted it, painted it, getting rid of all the rust and all the old paint, and then they replaced bearings and repaired gears and replaced seals. So all to build this thing back up. And this thing is just about ready for final reassembly. And actually it's like 90% there right now. We're just waiting on one gear that is a custom gear, and we're waiting for it to come in. And as soon as it comes in, the final reassembly for this mount will happen. And once that's done, maybe not soon after, but we will do a video on the 40 mounts, what it takes to go into restoring one of these mounts and what all we've done. It's been absolutely fantastic, a joy to watch this mount, which is probably one of the worst mounts on the ship, just get completely torn down and rebuilt. So in all of that, all the work that we do, not only on the ship, but on these guns, is to ensure the long-term preservation of the ship and its components, like these guns. What's coming up for Battleship Texas and for us is to make those final preparations to make her ready to tow to Galveston and to prepare her for the shipyard itself. Now, that includes placing pumps in strategic locations, running hoses, extra power, cleaning things up, making the ship much more tidy, and just basically getting her ready to move. And along with that comes the salvage company Resolve mobilizing back up to help us with those final preparations. And those are preparations on top of the things that we've already done, such as putting 750,000 gallons of expanded foam into the ship. So those things are going to go on. The dry dock that will be lifting the ship arrived in Galveston last weekend, the GC 35,000, and it'll be ready to accept the ship sometime in late July, early August. So once they get it ready for the ship, there'll be some checks on it to make sure that it's fully operational, and then we'll boot scoot with the ship on down there and get it on the dock. And we noticed in a lot of the comments that you guys were kind of confused, or some folks were confused rather, about the dock overall. One being that the dock looks like it's missing a piece. Well, For its intended purpose right now, it's not. However, this section of dock comes from a much larger dock. The original dock size was 900 feet long, and this piece is shorter. However, it is still capable of lifting the Battleship Texas and has the capacity and size to do so, and to do so safely. We'll do a video on our frequently asked questions about the dock, such as the dock length and when the ship's going to be ready. We just kind of gave you that answer, but even still, we'll do another video on this so that we can consolidate all of this stuff down into one thing. So when your friends ask you, you can point to this video and say, "Hey, get your information here." Over the course of 4 days in the last 2 weeks of February, the most visceral thing that says the ship is coming out of San Jacinto, that the ship is leaving San Jacinto and will be heading to the dry dock, was not the arrival of the dry dock, but the dredging of the slip at San Jacinto. That's right. We moved, or rather our dredge contractor moved about 23,000 cubic yards of mud behind the ship and at the stern of the ship, which for me, seeing those buckets of mud coming out of the water and going into a barge was absolutely it was really, really exciting for me. So they did their work. They might come back. We might have them come back as it gets closer to us, the ship leaving. We'll just have to see based on the surveys. But we definitely do not want a repeat of 1988. So in 1988, TPWD dredged behind the ship, kind of around the stern of the ship. But even still, as the ship was being moved through the mud, she kept piling mud up behind her and into a kind of a berm, and the ship ended up going over the top of this berm. We want to avoid that. So we're doing everything that we can to avoid that happening. We want to thank our dredge contractors, Matthews Brothers. They have done absolutely a phenomenal job. Their operators are top-notch. They were getting within 20 feet of the ship, sometimes a little bit closer, making yours truly just a little bit nervous, but with each bucket, watching, getting a sense of confidence in their skills and how well they operate. By the end of the day, I knew that they could get as close as they want without damaging the ship, though we didn't get any closer. Now that we've got you caught up to speed on what's happened since February, let's talk about what's currently going on in Battleship Texas. So right now, we're in the middle of phase 1 of the superstructure rehabilitation project. This project is to address the serious backlog and deferred maintenance in the superstructure of the ship, and to make critical repairs, and then ensure the long-term preservation of the structure. Phase 1 of this project is to remove all the hazardous materials from the superstructure before actual steel work happens in the shipyard. Now, we've been working with A&M Environmental, and who's our abatement contractor, and SSCI is our abatement consultant, and they have been doing a great job of removing the lead and asbestos from the foretop, way up at the top of the ship, where everyone wants to go. In fact, the ducting behind me is for the negative air for those spaces way up there, and in the flag bridge and in the sky control. Now, we've added on a few other areas to remove asbestos from, namely some of our office areas and a little bit of lead from those areas. That's a scope that we're doing outside of this project, because this project is partially funded by a Save America's Treasures grant that we received last year, or that we were awarded last year. And this grant pays up to $500,000 of this $1.2 million project. So we're committed to funding the other $700,000 of this project. And at the end of it, the superstructure will be intact, repaired, safe, and well-coated and preserved for the next, 100 years. So before we go, I really want to talk about one thing that's also happened around the time that the dry dock was arriving, is that our main Facebook page we're not quite sure what happened, and Facebook will not give us an answer as to what happened. Our Facebook page was taken down. All of our admins were de-admined, and it's just sitting there. So we're not sure if we were hacked or if we were just unpublished by Facebook. That happened, mid-May, and then at the end of May, we created a new page to try to Well, to get back on Facebook and to have a presence on Facebook. We got that page live. It was up for a couple of hours, and then again, it was unpublished. This page was unpublished, though it's still there, by Facebook, and we are trying to get it back live again. So once it's back up again, we'll start pushing out what that is, and if we have to create a third page, yet a third page, we will do that, and once it's stable, we'll let you guys know. Yes, we did appeal to Facebook. We've reached out to Facebook just about any way that you can think of. Third parties that we know that have connections with Facebook through all the reporting systems, we just haven't gotten anything back. And it has been almost a month since our main page went down, with still no communication from Facebook. You can still find us on Facebook at Battleship Texas Foundation Group. Yes, we have a group page. It is a great way for folks to come in and have a conversation with us, post questions, interesting tidbits that they found out about the ship, and we have a conversation. There's a lot of knowledgeable folks within that community who like to help and share their knowledge. So you can come find us there. You can find our updates on our website at battleshiptexas.org. And if you want to support us and the ship financially, you can do so by, again, going to our website and making a donation there, buying merchandise on our website, which also supports us and the ship. And lastly, if you would like to volunteer, you can go to our website, again, battleshiptexas.org, and sign up as a volunteer, and we'll get you on and get you worked into the process and find a place for you on the ship. As always, we want to say thank you for all of your support, whether it's your time, your financial contribution, or just watching this YouTube channel. Thank you very much. To leave you with the ship's motto, come on Texas.